Back at Talladega, take a look at our starting grid. For the first time in NASCAR history, Toyota sweeps all three top starting spots. And the biggest irony, all three of those drivers, Michael Waltrip, Dave Liddy, and Brian Vickers, failed to qualify for this race back in the spring. Now, our in-race reporter today, well, who better to tell us about this place and what it takes to win here? A young man named Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts 26th in the Budweiser Chevy.
Hey, Dale Jr., Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
10-4.
Hey, Dale, you won here 5 times, and you definitely know how to get around this racetrack. But, you know, now we got the car tomorrow for the first time ever here at Talladega. Hey, man, with all that said, what's your biggest concerns about that car here today?
The bumpers are so flat on the front and the back that when you bump a guy, you actually have a lot of material beat. And you can steer a guy around because there's so much mass material that touch each other. And that's a little disturbing, but otherwise, I'm just going to drive her like I always do, try to get to the front, learn what I can about the draft. If there's anything different the cars do when they're in the middle, when they're on third lane or whatever, I'll move around and see what the car is capable of doing. What lane seems to be the preferred lane as far as being able to move forward. But I think the slingshot's back. I think you're going to want to be just inside the top 5 on that last lap to have a shot to win. Probably not want to be leading the race.
Hey, Dale, a lot of drivers are talking about can't see out of the back of these cars too good. And the guys in the back looking at the car in front of them can't see their hand signals. Is that a bothersome problem there?
Yeah, but I do that coming, you know, we all do that. That's the way this car is with the wing and everything, you aren't going to be able to see. So it's not something that I'm going to get too upset about now because it's already part of the deal. I can see out pretty good. The one thing that I worry about, and I can't, like for Robbie in front of me here, I couldn't see him if he's waving at me. He's waving for me to stop pushing him, or he's about to run into somebody or back off a little bit. I can't see him waving. And personally, for anyone behind me, I wear the white gloves on the super speedways just to give the guys a better opportunity to see in the hand signals that we're giving each other. And that's made that even more difficult with the mounting of the wing and where it is. But the size of the car itself, it is a little big. You want, like I can't see nothing in the corner going up behind Robbie here. There is a crash. The guys get together. My reaction is going to be hampered a little bit by the visibility, but hopefully by the spot of TJ Majors on top of the game today.
All right, buddy, you have a safe race. We'll talk to you during the race, buddy.
We'll see.
Calling his shots for Dale Jr. today for the final time in 2007 will be his cousin and crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., who will leave this team after today and assume his new duties at Hendrick Motorsports. Let's visit with Tony Jr.
Hey, Tony, Andy Petrie up here. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Tony. You spent a lot of years at DEI, and this is it, man. It's your last day on the job. How much does it mean to you to try to take this team and share victory lane with all of your guys there?
It means the world, I mean, but honestly, Wednesday was probably the toughest day. You know, all the people there at DEI have been real supportive of my family the whole time I've been there, and got me to where I am today. So it's really tough Wednesday driving in that place, driving out knowing it's going to be your last time. But you know, hopefully they can be proud of me each and every week while I'm over at Hendricks. You know, because you know, I'm a creation of their company, and I'm just looking forward to the future. And it'd be awesome to come out here with a win for them.
That's good to hear, Tony. I know you guys have spent a lot of years together, and you want to celebrate tonight in victory lane, but you got this race to worry about. You got this car tomorrow, and you got a lot of unknowns here, like fuel mileage and tire wear. What kind of strategy you got here?
I don't think it'll be a whole lot different from normal. You know, it's just a matter of you making the right decisions when to be up at race and when not to. But you know, we'll probably take 2 tires a lot of the day. You know, we just need to be in a position where we got 4 fresh ones on here at the end. You know, we'll just kind of play it out, see how it happens. But it's going to be a long day, and just kind of got to stay out of trouble. Hopefully, we don't have to dig them.
10-4, Tony. It's going to be exciting. Good luck.
All right, thanks, dude.
Tony Eury Jr. Say goodbye today. You see how emotional he is about what's going to happen here today. Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the best we've ever seen at this racetrack. And as you look at Jr.'s numbers, easy to see that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. 5 wins to his dad's 10, and he was very confident that win number 6 could come here today. Well, today's event is 500 miles, 188 laps on the world's fastest stock car facility, 2.66-mile Talladega Super Speedway. Pit road speed 55, the pit window a little bit iffy at 38 to 42 miles an hour. 33-degree banks there at the front stretch, almost flat on the back straightaway. All throughout the field, we'll be riding along with some high-definition onboard cameras. Martin Truex starts 13th in the Sprint Bass Pro Shops Chevy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. heard from him. He starts 26th in the Budweiser Chevrolet. Danny Hamlin starts 18th in the FedEx Chevy. Kevin Harvick 37th in the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. Jeff Burton starts 21st in the AT&T Chevy. Michael Waltrip, his 4th career pole in the Napa Auto Parts Toyota. Tony Raines 14th, the Texas Instruments DLP Chevrolet, and of course Carl Edwards 31st in the Office Depot Ford. The 27 car there is former Indy 500 winner and Formula One world champion Jacques Villeneuve, making his first ever super speedway stock car start. Now he qualified 6th, but made a very difficult but a very wise decision.
This is a really smart decision on his part. He's never raced here before. He's got not much experience here at all, but he's a very, very smart driver. He's elected to go to the back of the pack, watch this thing unfold, see what's going to happen. Because, you know, if he gets up in front of that thing and a wreck does happen, they're going to be pointing fingers at him. This is a good move.
Absolutely nothing to gain by him starting up front in this race. He just needs experience.
Right now he's clocking his wheel. He tries to get the steering wheel spoke lined up in the perfect 3 and 9 o'clock position. So that's what he was doing right there, getting all set for this race.
So many stories, so many plots and subplots. Here's what we will be watching for today.
Yeah, this COT car has just got so many unknowns. They can't really see through the car. The engines are turning so many RPMs. They don't even have a history on about the fuel mileage. So these guys just got a few laps of practice to kind of predict their fuel mileage.
You know, the big one is where is it going to happen? If it's going to happen, you know, and how many cars are going to be able, you just don't know what's going to happen. But if it does happen, it's probably going to be really big.
It is bump drafted. I know it's going to happen. I know NASCAR is going to be watching for it, but they're not going to be able to stop it.
And you heard what Dale Jr. said, our race report. He's concerned about the bump draft. How hard can he hit a car? So he's worried about that part.
The drivers have said in testing and practice, the slingshot passing, the aggressive bump drafting could make this one a dandy. Could the car of tomorrow today produce the race of the decade? Well, we're about to find out, folks. Buckle up those seatbelts on the sofas at home. Glad to have you with us for our ESPN on ABC coverage of NASCAR. 500 miles of hold your breath white knuckle stock car racing at the world's fastest facility here in Talladega, Alabama. Over 150,000 diehard fans on their feet as we head down to the green flag. Fans watching and waving. Michael Waltrip's last win came here 4 years ago. It has been a long time coming, and he leads it down with the green waves, and they shuffle into turn 1. Very important to remember what happens here in restrictor plate racing. It takes them almost an entire lap to get to full speed, and during this lap, they are so close together with that hammer down and throttle wide open.
And Jerry, they practiced a couple days here with about 20 cars at a time in a racetrack. Never have they had 43 cars in a racetrack at one time. And now, what's going to happen begins right now.
David Goodwin gets pushed down below the yellow line. It's not a penalty as long as he doesn't advance his position.
Right now, you already see it 3 wide. This is a brand new repaved racetrack. A lot of grip. The cars are handling real well, and are really accelerating up in the draft. That's what a lot of drivers are saying. But they can't see out of the cars good.
Got these Toyotas up front. Here goes Dave Blaney.
And Andy's been a lot of concern about theyese Toyotas right now because they're all in qualifying form. Are the cars going to handle? I expect 4 or 5 laps to hold on pretty good, if not longer, but then probably the handling's going to change.
Look at this high lane. They are 3 wide up on the 33-degree banks. Blaney led the first lap right away. Michael Waltrip trying to hang on 3 lanes of drafters at 190+ miles an hour.
Before this race started, all the drivers were talking, you know, be careful, be careful. So I expect they're trying to do that right now, at least to the first pit stop, Andy.
Rod Vickers, they're just barely touching the guy in front of him. They're already doing this bump drafting.
Up high, some of the Dodges trying to hook up on the move. There's a Toyota Waltrip moving up high.
Well, this is the first time Michael Waltrip's been able to take his car and keep it up front a long time. It's good to see that.
Now he's loving this. Now he's going to be racy today. I talked to him. He's really pumped up about this race.
Take a look at Bobby Labonte right up the center in the middle of the racetrack right now. Dave Blaney takes the lead.
Bobby Labonte driving the 43 car for the King Richard Petty. He won here in 98. Talking about Labonte. He's in the middle group. Tony Stewart now trying to pull a high draft up to be in contention.
In this center lane, in the top lane, everybody's saying it's going to be the fast way around the racetrack with that momentum built up. And look right now, bumper to bumper.
It looks like his outside lane got seized up a little bit. And you see these Toyotas now. Michael Waltrip in the middle. Dave Blaney in the 22 car.
Ryan Vickers, who won this race a year ago, is his first and to date only NASCAR Nextel Cup win in the 83 car. That's Vickers in the Toyota. And he will pull up and lead as they come by this time.
Now, the Toyota's qualified really well, but boy, can he handle good? That's a big concern right now. But take a look at Ryan Newman. He's pulling this train right through the center, right up behind Dave Blaney right now. And you know what? The way they qualify doesn't mean a darn thing right now. It's all about how they draft.
That is Ryan Newman in the 12 car. You see they are 3 wide up front. It's Toyota, side with Toyota. 83 is Vickers, 55 Michael Waltrip.
You see Michael Waltrip, that 55 car, he's using that mirror. He was in that center lane, and he saw Bobby Labonte in the 43 car moving up. He just moved his car right up in front of the 43, and he got the big push. You see him get the lead.
Yeah, Dan, you make you wonder how good can they see out of the back of these cars. All these drivers we're talking about, we can't see the hand signals. They're really struggling with it. Alan?
Talking about Michael Waltrip in that 55 car. Michael, of course, has achieved his greatest success in NASCAR on the super speedways like Daytona and Talladega. Winning the Daytona 500 a couple of times, Michael has confidence that he knows what to do with a car in a draft. What do you know? Some guys are just better in a draft than others. Michael believes this is his forte. He's showing it right now.
Yeah, it's awful good to see Michael Waltrip back up in the lead right now. The guy definitely knows how to run in the speedways. But take a look at right now, Mark Truex. He's just tapping a rear bumper, a 43 car of Bobby Labonte, and look how much faster it makes him go. A lot of momentum there.
Martin Truex started back in 13th position. Now watch the bump drafting in the telemetry here, 194 miles an hour. All the way up to 4th spot, now trying to move by and sail by the 55 car of Waltrip for the lead.
That middle lane and that top lane seems like it's had a lot of momentum, and that's how he's just passed him with that momentum in the bump draft around the outside. We'll have to see how it shakes out today.
See the right Newman car, number 12, going backwards in the outside lane.
Yeah, it looks like he just lost a lot of speed right there and continued to slow down a little bit. I don't know if he's got a handling issue with that car, got out of shape, or what was that last time by.
Whoa, Jamie McMurray getting a big push here now from Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick started back in 37th position, and folks, here at lap 5, he is contending for the lead.
And take a look at Robbie Gordon right in front of Harvick. He just got a big push by Harvick on that one. Michael Waltrip pulls it behind him, and boy, that car, Robbie Gordon and Jamie McMurray almost look identical on the racetrack, Jerry. We have to watch that one.
More on Kevin Harvick with Mike.
Well, you know, Doc, there were a lot of concerns coming into this race, and one of them was the heat and the temperatures underneath the hood because of the draft. Well, I spoke with Todd Barrier, Kevin Harvick's crew chief, earlier this morning. He said one thing they are doing to counter the temperatures, they're running the 6-inch splitter. Most guys out here running the 4-inch splitter, but he's giving up a little bit of something in the draft so that 6-inch splitter can spray some more air into the grill.
Yeah, a lot of people talked about the splitter like Michael Sherrill was just talking about. It's that piece on the very bottom of the car. It's adjustable. It can go forward all the way out to 6 inches or come all the way back to 4 inches. A lot of the drivers are saying if it's back, it's a little quicker. But if it's forward, you can cool the engine better. So it's about a 50-50 split out there today with these competitors.
There have been 6 lead changes among 5 different cars, and we may have another one here in just 7 laps. That's how competitive it already is. And now they go 4 wide across the stripe at Talladega. Bottom of the racetrack, Robbie Gordon is the Ford. Behind him is a Toyota the 55. Then comes Tony Stewart in the Chevrolet. Single file on the bottom of the racetrack. There's a middle groove, an upper groove, and they're running 196 miles an hour back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. 24 cars are in the lead draft, and they are swapping it back and forth. Now Denny Hamlin becomes the 6th different leader. as he tries to hang on, getting a little bit of a push from behind by John Andretti.
You know, Denny Hamlin in practice, NASCAR actually parked him from the second practice session saying, hey, they were bumped draft and they warned him. Gave him a 15-minute delay. He decided to set up the whole session. So that was in practice, but right now it's a race. And NASCAR told him to just be careful out there.
Andy, a lot of unknowns about what would happen in the draft. And so as you see the 5 car now up, not quite touching. In happy hour, a lot of these guys started working on deals to be able to work out drafting partners for what would happen in the early laps today.
A lot of guys are using some different strategies here. You see a lot of aggressive driving up front. Some of these guys trying to lead the race. But you also see some other strategies going on. We see the second pack. And then we got a third pack of guys here that are maybe on just a little bit different strategy. Alan?
Andy, if you look all the way to the back end of the field, there's actually a third group. It's comprised all of Fords. All of the Ford drivers went out in final practice yesterday together on the racetrack and ran in one draft. They found out that by working together like that, they could run lap times that were basically quick enough to run down a big pack of cars racing. So it looks to me like the Fords had put that information under their hats, decided to drop back as a group, let things sort out ahead of them, maybe try and work their way back up later, and catch a caution anyway, and be safe from the big wreck if it happens in the early laps. So I'm believing this is an intentional strategy on the part of the Fords based on what we saw in practice yesterday.
Alan, it definitely does look intentional, and we've seen guys go to the back of, say, the lead draft and just sit back there in case something happens. This is the first time we've seen guys slide this far back. I mean, these guys are a pretty good ways back from that lead group.
Well, Andy, I'm watching the times right now, and the lead pack is running like 49.50s. That's the lap times running. This very third pack is running 49.40. So the Ford group is actually running faster than the leaders at this point.
I think they feel comfortable that they can catch this group anytime they want to, and this gives them just enough separation for a big wreck to happen in front of them.
Well, there's a lot to be said but they can just stay in line like they are right now. If they can stay bumper to bump, they can run faster.
Working the inside to 12. You talked about a moment ago. 55. Waltrip 20. Up front, the 5 car of Kyle Busch. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. down on the bottom of the racetrack in the 8 car.
And Dale Jr. told us, our in-race reporter, he's just going to be searching the lines, the bottom, the middle, the top, to find out where his car needs to be, because he doesn't know where it needs to be right now.
These guys right here are saying, hey, I'm going to race. We came to race. I'm not going to sit back here and ride.
You see him locked down in the second lane right now with no help. Nobody in front, nobody behind. But hey, that's going to change pretty quickly here.
5 car up front. We saw Kyle Busch a moment ago. As you see him running in second spot right behind the 11 car in the drivers meeting today. David Hooks, the guy who's the race director here, warned the drivers about bump drafting, said it will not be tolerated in the turns or significant hits on the straightaway. They've already warned now the 5 car of Kyle Busch.
See how these cars really bunch up. It looks to me like it's almost impossible not to have some contact.
Right now, these drivers are just trying to figure out what their car is going to do, where can they make a pass, and how good can they see it at them. And you can tell they're working every single groove here. And you talk about a bad visibility problem. Look at Michael Waltrip. His tear off on his windshield has come dislodged right now. And that's right in front of his eyes. So he's either looking underneath of it or off to the right of it, because it's right dead in the middle of his vision.
He ran off the racetrack a little bit getting in the corner there. It could be because of that vision problem you're talking about.
Well, I think it is, Andy. It's right dead in front of where he's trying to see. This is a dangerous thing for Michael here. I don't know how much longer he can stay out there.
See him looking up in his mirrors. What do you do if you're a driver? I mean, where do you look to be able to know what's ahead of you?
Well, you're looking right off to the very left-hand side right now, Doc. He's looking at what we call the A post. I saw it on the camera just by. He's got about 8 inches he can look off to the left. But you definitely want to look straight out and off to the right sometimes. And I got a feeling, Andy, that's the reason he's staying on the bottom of the track right now.
I'd be telling my guy, if this was my driver, to just get in a place where you don't have to be so tight with these guys. So give yourself some room. No big deal here. It's early in the race, and we see him doing that. He's kind of just giving these guys a little extra room, go to the back. Maybe this thing will blow off of there. There's not much you can do about it.
17 car Matt Kenseth, who's had bad luck in both of the last 2 chase events, finishing 35th. He slows and heads to pit road.
Doc, you never want to come down pit road at Talladega without a partner to draft back with. Matt Kenseth had to do it because he believes that right front tire may be going low. They will change 2 right sides and head back out, and he will hope the pack can't catch him, the lead pack, by the time he gets back up to speed.
He's going to be a sitting duck out there, Dave. He's got nobody to run with right now. These leaders are coming off turn 4. They're just going to suck him right up, man, and he's going to be in big trouble.
Kenseth, I visited with him last night. He's 11th out of the 12 drivers in the chase. And as you said, Andy, here he is, a sitting duck, because the lead draft comes by at 196 miles an hour, and he's still not getting up to speed.
You just got a lucky break right here. We got caution.
Contact with the 49 car. That is John Andretti, who had such a great qualifying run, but he has had contact with...
Well, right now, boy, this is a big break for Matt Kenseth. Looks like
no indication of nothing. Matter of fact, I was just going to call and say the car hand.
Kenseth's going to get his lap back. He just about went a lap back, a lap down. They waved him by, so he's still on the lead lap right now. Benefit off of what happened to John Andretti just then.
Let me correct John Andretti's situation. It looked like he'd had contact when he came by us, but apparently he cut a right front tire, and the tire just took the fender completely off. He said, I had no warning. You heard him on the radio a moment ago.
Guys, just what I heard. You know, you saw the Ford pack stay way back there, Andy, and that really was about to get Matt Kenseth in trouble for being laying back from the pack so bad. Almost got himself flat because of that.
Early on here at Talladega Super Speedway, we've had 8 lead changes and 6 leaders. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Reed Sorensen already down and away. Car handling very well. Just a little bit hot. They pulled some tape, a 2-tire change for Sorensen. Jamie?
Behind him, Kyle Busch. He gained 34 positions. They were going to do 4 tires, pull a strip of tape. He's off and away. Alan?
Denny Hamlin just took right side tires only, pitted from the lead. He's back on the track.
First pit stop of the day, you see Michael Waltrip. They had to get that tearaway off his car at the very end of pit road. Again, a race off of pit road. Casey Kane, fuel only. No tires for the Dodge driver who nearly pulled off the upset win here a year ago. He finished second to Brian Vickers. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. gaining 7 spots on some pit strategy. Kyle Busch, you heard he put 4 tires on and made an adjustment there with the 5 car. One of the cars that stayed out is the 45 car of Kyle Petty. He stayed on the racetrack, and he is being shown as our leader.
That particular move right there makes me nervous. 20 laps on fuel already and stayed out. I mean, Andy, if this thing goes green, I mean, he's in trouble right there.
Well, he may just be staying out here just to try to lead a lap. He's one of those cars fighting to stay in the top 35. These 5 points for leading would be a big bonus for him right here.
Kyle Petty, the 45 car, by the way, 34th in owner's points, just 39 points in front of the 35th car. Under caution here for the first time today. The caution coming out. We just joined our coverage on lap 17. Right front tire on John Andretti. We're hearing reports from the pits that there may have been cords showing on that right front tire. How worried would you be, Andy?
I'm pretty worried because Matt Kenseth came in a while ago with a problem with the right front tire. Not sure exactly what was going on with him, but could have been the same kind of issue there. I'm a little bit concerned about that right front.
Yeah, I talked to some of the drivers yesterday. They said it looks like you could run all day long on tires, no problem. But maybe they're seeing some heat problems, blistering.
Well, this tire really wears well. I mean, it'll run forever on as far as tire wear, but it builds up a lot of heat because it doesn't wear and it can blister. And when that happens, man, the tire just comes apart like you see here.
Safety crews picking up some of the debris up around the racetrack. Cleanup continues. Here is Kyle Petty now on pit road making his pit stop. You saw Joe Nemechek on pit road a moment ago in the 78 car. Here's the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Alan?
Well, Doc had a little strategy play going on. I think some of these guys thought about not taking tires, but Jeff Gordon has chosen to come down pit road this time after seeing what shook out. Crew Chief Steve Letarte called him in. There should be a 4-tire change on the 24 car, and they will indeed come around and get those left side tires.
Al, this is a smart move by Steve Letarte. I'm really impressed with his ability to kind of see what's going on here and make that decision. That was a great decision.
Jacques Villeneuve's first ever pit stop in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car. Slugger Labby, the crew chief, making some serious adjustments here.
I talked to Slugger Labby before qualifying, and he said if we make this race, he says the first pit stop I've got to do, make so many changes that I got to put my car on 4 jack stands.
He's
not kidding. He's got one under there.
Well, he's doing that because he put the car in qualifying mode to get it in the field. Now the car's not handling, so now they're making changes, probably some track bar adjustments, spring rubbers, shock adjustments. Well, not shock adjustments, because NASCAR mandates the shock. That's right. So everything around the shocks he's messing with right now.
They're just done doing this qualifying setup and get him something he can drive and be competitive and hopefully finish this race.
Take a look at our forward lap leaders. We had 6 different leaders in the first 5 laps here thus far. Denny Hamlin has led 7 laps. Vickers, Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Kyle Petty sit out and led a lap. Michael Waltrip, our pole sitter. Jimmy Johnson, the Rating Cup champion, of course, and Dave Blaney in a Toyota. 8 different leaders. There have been 10 lead changes here in the first 20 laps. Still working caution number 1 on the afternoon.
I like what I saw Michael Waltrip do. That was a good decision. You know, stay out, get those 5 points, come in, pit, go to the back of the pack. Really good move because he's so tight in those points right now. It's unreal.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Moments ago, the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, the 2 of Kurt Busch, and the 25 Casey Mears coming on for 4 fresh Goodyear tires. But Matt Kenseth now came back on the pit road. He had the tire issue early on and then raised the hood on the car to make some adjustments.
Looks like they're winding the jack screw here. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to do. Maybe take some camber out of it. They're trying to load this tire maybe a little different than what it is now because they had some problems down there. Dave?
And Andy, that's about right. They want to increase the tire wear on that right front. The problem is, as we come to green again, Matt Kenseth is going to have to come back down pit road because that right front has a bad vibration. He doesn't know if the right front tire just is out of balance or something, but the problems are going to continue. Remember, when that right front tire came off under green, there were cords showing. There was a lot of wear. They tried to adjust for that during this last pit stop.
Tough break for Matt Kenseth, who had dodged the bullet a moment ago, able to stay on the lead lap, but now he'll have to come back in, according to Dave.
Well, actually, he rolled the dice here and is taking the green. Maybe he's just going to try to feel it out.
Denny Hamlin leads him down. Casey Kane right behind him. They are in a tight draft coming up to full speed off of turn 2.
The single file restart is going to be interesting to see how long it takes these guys to get 2 and 3 wide.
Well, you know, in the single file restarts, they're going to get going for just a little bit, and finally, that second lane's going to pack in, that third lane's going to pack in, and they're going to run them down. You see them right now, breaking apart, back in the pack a little bit now.
Second and fourth place car are teammates, the 9 and 19 of Kane and Sadler. Lap 22, Hamlin leads him down. We talked about the fact that there are so many unknowns here with regard to the car of tomorrow. We asked Matt Kenseth his thoughts on the new car.
When you first started coming here, you're real excited to go draft and do that because you've never done that in your racing career. And then it went to a point where you're like, well, we're probably going to wreck because you wreck more times than not. And you're kind of nervous about the wreck all day, but you're kind of used to it. And now it's all new again, and you can't see as well. So definitely, I think everybody's more nervous going into this race than probably other restrictor plate races that we've had in the past.
Concerns over visibility with the car tomorrow, and thus far they're still shuffling it up pretty well. And some concerns about tires there with the right front. 29 is Harvick, the 5 is Kyle Busch.
Well, a little bit of concern about tires. If you see the front splitter on these cars are right dead on the ground, about all of them are. The cars are still riding on the bump stops like we see at some other tracks. And because of that, you know, they've really got their front end down on these cars and messing with the camber.
Well, one other thing, Rusty, too, is these cars have got about 100 counts more downforce, a couple 100 pounds more downforce than they've ever had here. So maybe this extra downforce is just put more load on this front tire.
It's got to be the reason they're messing with the air dam, sliding the splitter back and forth and trying to get some adjustability there also.
Just so many unknowns. You know, these guys are just trying to learn this thing just as they go, actually.
2 lanes, you see the different drafts, one being led by Hamlin, one being led by Harvick, almost even at just 191, 192 miles an hour.
And what you're going to see right here, you're going to see the miles per hour change a lot from the outside lane to the inside lane, depending on the run they get.
Here you see it happening right now. You've got Kevin Harvick just pushing this Dodge. It didn't take long for him to get up there and get the lead.
See right now, Sadler at 196, 97 miles an hour down the front straight. We're looking at close to 198. Approaching 200 going into turn 1, and that's all because he's getting a big shove from Kevin Harvick going into turn 1 right now.
I think all these drivers are just trying to learn the different dynamic of this new car as far as the air is concerned. You know, these guys are trying to figure out exactly where to be and how to draft.
Well, right now they're just being calm. I think the race looks pretty calm right now, but you know at the end of this thing, the tension's going to get high. They're going to go for it, and I wouldn't doubt if you see this race end with a full wide finish.
Here they come pushing up high. The 9 car of Casey Kane trying to push the 11 of Hamlin. Kane's teammate, the 19, is Sadler. Elliott Sadler trying to get back to victory lane. Allen.
Just a strategy update on that 19 car, Doc. Right side tires only on his pit stop. He started 10th. He's been in this lead group about the whole race long. No top 5 finish yet this year for Elliott Sadler. Like to change that today, but we've got a long way to go.
Elliott Sadler's great at restrictor plate racing. This would be a good chance for him to get that top 5.
Well, this is a great opportunity, like you said, because, you know, he struggled a little bit this year, but he's good right here. And I wouldn't doubt he can pull it off here.
I'm impressed with Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Harvick started back in 37th position as you watch these guys dancing back and forth. The onboard looking back from Harvick's car. How close are those guys together? You can't put a sheet of paper between Kane and the 9 and the 11 of Hamlin.
Well, they drafted like this, guys, all through practice. The 2 days of practice session here, bump drafting each other. And they say the cars are so screwed to the racetrack, they can do that.
To give you that kind of confidence when you have a car that handles and sticks to the racetrack that well, to just get up there and root and gouge, bump these guys up to the lead.
Well, they got time right now to do that, and they've got enough separation now. They can get pretty aggressive and bump each other around, but the dangerous part, when they get 3 and when they get 4 wide, that's where it can get crazy.
I see 2 guys getting together here, Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr. These guys have been partners in the draft before, and I see them getting together here kind of mid-pack, doing a little pushing up through the front. Here we go.
Watch this push here from the 8 car of Earnhardt Jr. Now, this is the left of your screen up front. On the inside line, you see there's Montoya going down behind Harvick and behind Elliott Sadler. And Brad Daugherty, Elliott Sadler is a very good restrictor plate racer.
I got to spend a lot of time with Elliott this past weekend on Friday, in particular, talking about his season. They've been very disappointed, but he thought that he could get here today and have a very good run. He said, Brad, if I can continue to maintain momentum throughout the day, he knows everyone else wants to go to the back. He wants to be up front all day long and give himself a shot to get that elusive victory that's been eluding him this year.
Well, Brad, take a look at this middle line right now. It's starting to really get going in the top lane. All of it at the top of the racetrack also. They're getting a big run, a lot of momentum. The guys are starting to get pretty compacted right now.
The 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. all over the 55. Behind him, he's getting a little Toyota tag from the 83. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. now trying to use that middle groove you were just talking about.
Well, Earnhardt Jr. is going to try this racetrack everywhere. He told us, and as he was in a race reporter, he just doesn't know what the car is going to do. He's trying everything. And right now, it appears that the center lane and the top lane are the 2 quickest lanes out there.
There's just so many laps to go. You have to wonder sometimes, why are these guys so aggressive at this point of the race?
Yeah, because the race drivers that get paid the big money to do it. You know, NASCAR tells us to be careful. Man, you try it, it's in your mind, but it just doesn't happen.
It's like as soon as you flip that switch, that all goes out the window.
That's exactly right. Look at Brian Vickers on the top of that racetrack. Giving Denny Hamlin a big shove right there. Hamlin's been stuck at the top for a long time, and he loves it up there.
Different leader, Casey King, goes to the point here as they continue 3-wide battle right up close and personal at 190+ miles an hour. And by the way, a moment ago, this lead draft ran a lap quicker than what Michael Waltrip ran to put his car on the pole. That's how quick the draft is here at Talladega.
Now that draft area can pick you up over 10 miles per hour if conditions are right. I mean, you get 4 or 5 of these guys hooked up in a straight line, they can flat sail around this racetrack.
Here goes Truex in the 1 car down on the inside. Says it's my turn to lead.
It's a pretty aggressive move. You saw him come straight from that outside lane, right straight to the bottom.
And how important was qualifying? Not at all. You see Truex didn't qualify up front, kind of mid-pack there. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. qualified back in the 20th. And then you see Michael Waltrip was on a pole. So handling and drafting was just everything in the world.
Back with more from Talladega after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. As we welcome you back to Talladega Super Speedway, 34 of 188 laps complete. 15 lead changes. Brad, what sort of jumps out at you early in the race?
You know, there wasn't the inconsistency that I thought there was going to be with the guys who started up front in the first 5 rows, the qualifier, the go-homers. They actually held their own and did a pretty good job until that first caution. But now you see the 8 car, who I predicted to win this thing, move towards the front. You see Jeff Burton move towards the front. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex came from the back. So the guys who have the strong cars are actually starting to work their way up. All of those guys outside of Jeff Gordon, who has maintained his rear position. He's just back there riding right now, waiting and watching. But there hasn't been much patience outside of Jeff Gordon.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes in with so much confidence. He practically guaranteed a win here. He's won here 5 times.
He is excellent at this racetrack, and I like his strategy. He wants to get out front. He wants to lead. He wants to fill his car in that lead air and see what it does. So he's prepared at the end of the race. I think that's the only negative for a guy like Jeff Gordon. Those guys are back.
Yeah, Doc, in 6 of the last 12 races here, Dale Jr. has led the most laps.
Susie, his win streak in jeopardy. Two guys have already continued theirs. His is 7 consecutive seasons. He has not won this year. In fact, his last victory coming 55 races ago, May 6th of 2006 at Richmond. And he told us in the early part of our pre-race coverage, he feels real good. In fact, yesterday he predicted a win in this race today.
Well, I talked to a lot of drivers in the garage area down on pit road and asked them, can you keep your car up front? If you get up front, can you hold that lead with this new aero package and this new car? Most of them said no. It's hard to stay up front. But one guy that said he could do it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was very confident he could get his car up front and keep it there.
Earnhardt Jr., the leader. Bobby Labonte in the Richard Petty-owned Dodge, the 43-car second. Kyle Busch is running third. Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, I'm in Kyle Busch's pit right now. A NASCAR official just came down from talking to Alan Gustafson. I just asked Alan what he said. He said, we told him he's driving too aggressive, that he needs to back it down. Kyle needs to not be so aggressive or they're going to black flag him. And remember, guys, earlier in that driver's meeting, that is all they emphasized. Do not be too aggressive on this track today. So they're keeping an eye on the 5 car.
Well, when NASCAR's keeping an eye on you, you better drive right, because if you mess up a little bit, they're going to bring you down pit road for stop-and-go penalty, black flag, or whatever. But take a look at Jeff Burton right now. He's got himself up in the 4th position at Richard Childress' car. He's got it handling real well. He's had some bad luck this year.
He's had a lot of bad luck, and this is one guy that you kind of pull for because he's been here so long, and he's got a shot to win the championship. He's sitting in the right spot right here. He's just kind of biding his time. He's got enough gap between the car in front of him. He's not going to do anything stupid at this point in the race.
You know, one thing I'm watching right now, they're running the top lane. You know, that's a farther way around the racetrack. The fuel mileage has got to be getting killed by these guys taking a long way around the track.
But what are you going to do? All these other guys are on the top. You can't go down there by yourself.
Well, they're following the 8 car at Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now, and I got to believe if they were on the bottom, the fuel mileage would be better, and they'd be running just as fast.
Let's hear what Jeff Burton had to say about trying to figure out this car of tomorrow.
Quite simply, we've got to, take our car tomorrow to another level. We've not performed like we need to with the car tomorrow. We've worked exceptionally hard at it. Our teammates in most cases have been able to do better than us, so we've got to, quickly figure out what I'm doing as a driver and what we're doing as a team that isn't as effective as what they've been able to do. And that is the big thing right now for us.
Trying to get it figured out, running 4th here in the 31 car. Jeff Burton coming off the frustrations of a week ago, finishing 36th at Kansas City, which moved him back to 10th in the chase points. Alan?
And Doc, I talked to Jeff Burton just before the start of the race, and he told me he truly had no idea what to expect in today's race. He said, I don't have any idea how the cars are going to handle, how they're going to perform, how the draft's going to be, whether we'll go forward, whether we'll go back. I have no idea. And he just finished now on the radio, taking about an entire lap and very calmly discussing the RPM range of his engine to his crew chief, the form of the draft on the racetrack. For a guy that's out there doing 190-something miles an hour, he sounds pretty relaxed.
The race is pretty calm right now. These guys have kind of got lined up, decided, hey, we're going to log a few laps here. You see the second pack doing the same thing. You see Carl Edwards looks like he's leading this pack.
And look who's back here, guys. All the way in the back of this pack, you got Jeff Gordon back there. You got the 2 car of Kurt Busch. You got the 48 car, reigning series champion Jimmy Johnson.
You know, that's a little bit of a surprise to me right there. I don't think you have to be that careful that you're the very back of the pack. I've seen these wrecks happen in the beginning of the pack, in the middle, in the back. But obviously they're trying to stay away from the big one if it does happen. But the concern I would have, can they lose the draft by doing this?
I'm watching the lap times. It doesn't look like they're going to lose the draft unless these guys up front would be smart enough to line up and get single file and try to drive around the racetrack on these guys.
Well, the guy right now is probably pretty nervous is Matt Kenseth in the very back. He's tailed back, and if he does lose the draft, he would be the one because there's nobody behind him to help him. Dave?
And Rusty, he did lose that draft a few laps back. About 10 car lengths separated him from that group. The reason was he was trying to cool down his race car. Temperature's way up. They noticed a piece of paper on the grill. He said, I'm going to have to catch the pack and try to do that sweep move and use the air disturbance to wipe that piece of paper off. So Carl Edwards at the head of that pack slowed the whole pack down so that Matt could catch. Nobody passed him. He just slowed the entire pack down, and Matt got that piece of paper off the grill. Temps coming down.
Now that's teamwork right there, Dave.
And everybody else.
You don't think that's going to happen in the race, do you? I mean, when you're a driver up the lead, you get out of the throttle so you can go get one of your teammates and drag them forward. Hey, that's hard to believe that's happening, but you know it won't happen at the very end.
41 of 188 laps in here at Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr., a 5-time winner here. Remember, his dad won this race 10 times, won at Talladega 10 times. Earnhardt Jr. trying to go to victory lane for the first time in 55 races. It's been that long ago, May of 2006. And right now, he's got the car to beat at the head of the field. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
I'm Stan Verrett, and this is the Sports Center Minute powered by Vizio. In college football last night, yet another stunning upset. Stanford beat USC 24-23 to snap the Trojans' 35-game home win streak. USC dropped to number 10 in this week's Associated Press poll. Meanwhile, in Baton Rouge, LSU beat Florida 28-24 to remain unbeaten. The Tigers are the unanimous #1 this week. Cal is #2 with Ohio State at #3. And Yankees owner George Steinbrenner tells New Jersey's Bergen Record that he won't have manager Joe Torre back if the Yankees don't win their playoff series with the Indians. New York will try to avoid a sweep tonight at home. I'm Stan Verrett, and that's the Sports Center Minute.
Fabulous finishes in college football last night. Of course, anticipating the same here at Talladega with NASCAR's Nextel Cup Series. Now, Rusty Wallace, at this point in the race, a lot of these guys settling in to sort of feel what they've got.
Yeah, they're running the top lane right now. You can see there's logging laps right now. Nobody's getting excited, making it 2- and 3-wide racing right now. They're just trying to get to the midway point of this race, get to the end.
You saw these guys really aggressive in early laps, and 2 and 3 wide. What happened here? Why did they all get single file?
Well, you know one thing, they know they can do it. It will happen. They will get 2 and 3 wide because they did it earlier in the race. But right now, you can sense the drivers are just saying, hey, take it easy. Let's get this thing to the end before we get racing.
Bobby Labonte runs in second spot. Let's check in at his pit with Dave.
And speaking of the end of the race, guys, that must be interesting thinking right now for Bobby Labonte. He commented after qualifying yesterday regarding the race and saying, I don't think you want to be leading on the last lap. The key is not to be the guy in first place. Now, in years past, whether you were leading, whether you were second one to slingshot, that's been the great debate. Labonte is not sure, but he thinks you may not want to be first. And right now, running second, maybe he's planning his race end strategy.
It could be, Dave, but like I said, I talked to a lot of guys, and most guys were thinking like Bobby Labonte, that they couldn't lead the race on the last lap and come back to the win.
I think that every driver out there thinks that they get a 2 and 3 wide draft going on, and they're in the front, they're a sitting duck. They're going to get drove by right off the bat.
Right behind the 43 is the 5 car of Kyle Busch, who, when asked, said he's not real crazy about this kind of racing here at Talladega.
I always dread coming here. It's just a place that isn't very fun to me, and I always seem to wreck here. So anytime you wreck, that you don't have fun. So for me, it's just trying to get through here, get in, get out, and go on to the next one.
You know, when you go to a racetrack and you have a lot of wrecks, you don't want to go back. That's for sure. But, you know, I'm watching these guys run this high lane out there on the racetrack lap after lap. And 7-time champion Richard Petty told me that this top lane of the racetrack is where he likes to run. And I said, why? He said, if I have a tire failure or something goes wrong with the car, it's just that much less of a distance before I hit the wall.
And if you're wondering why some of these drivers, like the 5 car of Kyle Busch, may not like coming here, well, folks, back in the spring, it got very ugly in a hurry for Kyle Busch in the NASCAR Busch Series event. Remember this one? Watch the contact and watch his car just start to barrel roll and somersault as the field comes sliding by at over 185 miles an hour.
I can see how that would be a bit of fun right there.
Well, you saw them so tight, if they moved the wheel just a little bit too much, they're going to bang it in somebody, and things like that happen. You saw him, and that was Tony Stewart in the 33 car had that problem. That's a big wreck right there.
And fortunately, because of NASCAR's stringent safety on these cars, all the parameters they have, he was able to walk away. Upset and angry, but he did walk away.
You know, earlier in the race, NASCAR warned him for a little bit of rough driving, so he probably needs to remember what happened the last time he was here. Just calm down a little bit and don't let this problem happen again.
.49 of 188 laps in. We're moving in on what should be scheduled pit stops about 10 or so laps away. Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. Alan Beck.
I'm sure
you have, and I'm sure most of the folks watching have been on a long trip in the car. You know, say 500 miles, driving down the road when it's kind of quiet inside the car. Sometimes you need something on the radio to, keep you entertained, keep you informed while you're cruising at, say, 190 miles an hour. How about, say, the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
14-3 Redskins on top. Hell yeah.
Well, you might listen to music, you might listen to something else. In this case, Earnhardt Jr. is getting some score updates on the only radio he has in his car.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a diehard Washington Redskin fan. That's why a lot of people thought he might go to Joe Gibbs Racing when he left DEI, but of course he decided to go to drive next year for Rick Hendrick.
And he's sitting there thinking about football, not racing, man. I'm telling you, I'd be thinking all about what that car's doing right here.
Well, if he can do that when he's 4 wide with 2 laps to go, he's really good. We know he's pretty good, but man, you got to be good to have your mind off of driving and on football right now.
Now, how much would Dale Earnhardt Sr. wander from the race? Would he ever think about other things during the race to be able to occupy himself?
It does sound a lot like Senior. I mean, he can be up front like this. In this part of the race when it's really not that critical, and he'd come up with some funny things every now and then he'd say on the radio just to kind of keep it light. But buddy, when it came down to time to pay off, he was all business.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. The thing he always talked about was getting out of the racetrack first, getting to the airplane, the very first guy, through the dirt road, through the woods, fire the plane up, get it going. I'm going to beat all these guys.
He wanted to win everything.
If he didn't win the race, he won the race to the airport.
If I was Dale Earnhardt Jr., I'd be watching these gauges right now because I see some trash on the front of this grill. Looks like he's got a little bit of debris that's kind of packing up in there. You can see right there, in that grill open. I'd be worried about that a little bit. He's got the clean air. He doesn't have anybody in front of him, so it should be okay as long as he's got some, if he's got some opening there.
And it looks like he's got some tape on there that he can pull off to cool that motor down a little bit. You see the red stripes off to the left, and that's there on purpose. Brad, take a look at this. I mean, this engine could be overheating right now because that's more debris than that engine can probably stand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I had a question for Andy Petrie regarding the engine. We know that DEI has had some problems throughout the year with significant motor failures. He's out here right now. Obviously, it's a long green flag run, turning about 8,600 to 8,800 RPM. Is that something to be concerned with? And the second part of that question, Andy, are the guys back in the back getting a break on their engines by riding in the draft?
Well, Brad, I'm scared to death if I'm those guys, any of them. I mean, these are RPMs like we've never seen here, so I wouldn't be even comfortable about it until the race is over. But the guys in the back can back off a little bit, but their engines are still going to have to turn those high RPMs even if they're off the gas a little.
Lap 53 of 188, riding along with Jeff Burton, watching the speeds and the RPMs, and he's got that throttle hammered down. 53 laps in the books. Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still leading that front draft. Now, several cars had peeled off just moments ago to make a quick pit stop, including those of the 31 car of Burt. Here come others on the pit road now. The 21 of Kenny Schrader, the 99 of Edwards Biffle, last week's winner, as they come down at 55 miles per hour. Dave.
Carl Edwards, who's been leading that second pack of cars, will take on 4 tires this time. Actually, yeah, it'll be 4 for Carl and full of fuel. His teammate Matt Kenseth was on and off of pit road, and only 2 for him. It was 2 for Kenseth as well. He gets it fired. Mike?
Greg Biffle and his team real confident, real happy with their car so far. A quick 2-tire change to the 16 car on their way.
These guys down pit road being very careful not to speed, can ill afford a speeding penalty here at Talladega. Still waiting for this group to come on. Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch.
The 17 car, Matt Kenseth, and the 22 of Dave Blaney were in just a lap ago. Got penalized for going too fast on pit road, so they're going to have to come back.
Pass-through penalty for the 17. Here's Bobby Labonte with his Dodge. Great run thus far for Bobby.
These guys going for 4 tires. We saw that other group going for 2. It's almost like when these guys come down together, if one of them takes 2, they all have to take 2 to stay together. Mike?
The biggest concern for Reed Sorensen on his last stop were the temperatures. They escalated to 230 degrees. They tried to pull off some tape on this stop. Alan?
Mark Truex Jr. pits running in the top 6 or 7 all race long just about. Once he got going on the initial start, a 4-tire change for him.
Sorensen, Bobby Labonte head out. Kyle Petty, you see him moving back out. Jacques Villeneuve, who's getting a lot of learning done here. He was at the back of that lead draft, the 31 car.
Next time by. Next time by.
see Bird and Harvick and some of these guys that have already made their pit stops.
See this 8 car dropping down on the bottom of the racetrack. Now here comes Kyle Busch. Looks like these guys, anywhere Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes, these other guys just want to follow.
Casey King making his stop. Normally you wave your hands, right, Rusty, as they're trying to make these stops and slow down. Here's the 12th car, Ryan Newman on pit road. Alan?
Yeah, talking on his radio earlier, trying to figure out how to move forward. Was looking to move low when everybody was running high. Couldn't get anybody to run with him. 4 tire change there for Newman's Dodge.
Here they come, Earnhardt, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, and a host of lead cars. There's Vickers, the 83, going by, and here comes Earnhardt leading him down pit road for his stop. Dave in the 20-car pits.
And they told Tony to stay out an extra lap. He said, no problem, I'm not going anywhere anyway, but he does pit with leaders now. They will take on 2 right side tires, no adjustment for Tony Stewart. Jamie.
And Kyle Busch stayed out a couple extra laps because he wanted a partner to come in with, so Dale Earnhardt Jr. was his partner. Kyle Busch came in, guys, and you know they gave him that warning about being too aggressive, so he asked for an energy drink for this next stop, Alan.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. in from the lead, a 4 tire change, filled up with fuel. You see they go and try and clean some of that stuff off the grill that we pointed out a bit earlier.
Got to get those grills clean. You heard about some of those guys, Reed Sorensen talking about his water temperature over 240 degrees. Next group coming on. Here's Vickers, who was the leader. Rudeman, the 00 car, and the pole sitter, Michael Waltrip.
Got to be careful not to speed on pit road here because you can lose the draft if you have to come back down on pit road.
Dale Jarrett and Jimmy Johnson also in this group making their pit stop here under green. Jamie?
And Brian Vickers listening to his crew chief making the calls. Remember last time he was here, this time last year, he won the race. Brian Vickers going to take 4 tires, and we're watching Jimmy Johnson right there. He's out of pit sequence, but he found some partners, 4 tires and fuel for Jimmy Johnson. He's down and away.
Jimmy rolling out. Jimmy the 48, 44, Dale Jarrett, a 2-time winner here. There's Jeff Gordon. These guys, remember, were hanging at the back of the field here, just trying to stay out of trouble early part of this race.
They were about 6 seconds behind the lead pack before they started. All these cars started pitting. So now you're going to see just all this shuffling going on. It's going to be interesting to see how it all works out.
Possible strategy here for Kevin Harvick on this pit stop.
Wow, he's going for left side tires. So I guess these guys are not worried about that right front like some of the problems we've seen earlier.
Have you ever done that here early on at Talladega?
Yeah, I've done it before. And what you can do here, because the tire wear is not very bad here, is you can go right sides, then left sides, then right. You can kind of rotate. So that's probably what they're doing here.
Mike?
And Andy, that call was made entirely by the driver, Kevin Harvick. He had radioed in before that stop asking Todd Berrier what they had planned to do. Berrier said they were going to just change right sides. And, well, Kevin Harvick didn't like that plan and said, no, let's do left sides instead. So all on his shoulders.
It makes you wonder what it was that Kevin was feeling that made him want to put left side tires on the car.
Well, the driver knows what the car feels like. But hey, take a look at Jack Bellevue outside. 27 car up against the wall right now. Looks like he's getting a little more racy. Starting to get comfortable out there.
Villeneuve, the former Formula One world champion, ran a truck race yesterday, ran a truck race a couple weeks ago at Las Vegas, but making his first ever start in a NASCAR Nextel Cup stock car.
We saw these guys run a single file a while ago. Now the pit stop seemed to have brought the group together instead of breaking them apart. Talk about closing range, man. Look at this right here. You see that 11 car coming up on this 55 car. Michael Waltrip has got to find somewhere to take that momentum. Right up next to the wall.
And Michael did a good job just holding the steering wheel, stay in the middle.
Well, trouble on the racetrack. A couple of contact that involves the
Greg Biffle.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car. Also the 38 of David Gillen has had some contact. Robert Yates racing car. And that will bring out caution for the second time.
Looks like Greg Biffle's got a right front tire now.
Let's get on board here. We'll be all right.
Biffle, last week's winner in Kansas City. Breaking that 28 race.
On the left side post. Where's that?
These guys are going to get 4 tires.
Nice and easy. 4,200. 4,200. How's that fender look? How's that fender look? Good on the body. Everything good on the body. Okay.
Looks like everything's going to work out fine for Greg Biffle right here.
Tell you what happened to bring this caution out. Greg Biffle in the 16. The 38 is Gillen.
Wow, see a little bit of contact. Looks like Greg Biffle got turned around, but he got straightened up pretty quick.
That's the first time in a while they've been too wide, bumper to bumper, like they've been since the start of the race. But look at this.
Yeah, this is what these guys are talking about when they can't see through each other's cars. They got jammed up right there, and the guys behind probably couldn't see that.
And if they can't, when they throw their hands up and waving them off, the drivers can't see it. Like you said, Andy, that's what causes this problem.
Watch the chain reaction. 38 car into the back of the 16.
You saw that closing rate, and you see these guys when they start closing up on each other, they got to be able to signal each other to tell them, hey, these guys are slowing down in front of me. If you can't see it, they drive straight into it.
They get so compacted, there's not much room. You're talking bumper to bumper, and you need to be running at that same speed when you get out of the throttle. If you jump out, everybody's going to check up and cause a big crash. Let's watch it from Kevin Harvick's car. See what it looks like from this angle.
We've got a lot better angle up on top of the roof with this camera than the drivers actually have.
Down low. Stay right there.
We're lucky we didn't have a bigger wreck in that instance than we did.
Pretty heavy damage for David Gilliland, who recorded his best career finish at this race back in the spring. Now, pit road is closed as far as pit stops are concerned, but they're going to bring him down pit road behind the pace car to be able to avoid some of the debris on the racetrack. And while they clean up the racetrack, under caution, we'll take a break. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Talladega, many of the leaders have stayed out. Several of these cars have come on the pit road, including Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick. 99 car of Edwards, some of those that actually pitted earlier, pitted back on lap 56, so they had actually run 9 laps since this caution came out, so they're going to come on the pit road.
Some of these guys actually even had some damage because they got up against the wall a little bit. Want to get some tires on there, make sure they didn't have any tire roughs, and go ahead and get a little fuel. No reason not to go ahead and get a little fuel right here, and it opens up your options later when these guys start pitting under green.
Let's show you what happened here. This chain reaction crash on lap 63. Now watch the 15 and the 01 up toward the front here. Watch them slow up.
You can tell right now the 15 of Paul Menard's really compacted behind the car. So the 15 to 01 slow up a little bit. The 99 of Carl Edwards got to get out of the throttle, and he gets tagged in the back. This is a normal chain reaction caused by lack of vision out of those rear wings. They can't see out of the rear window. They'll use the hand signals. See 16?
You see how fast it happens.
Yeah, it's just, and nobody did anything wrong. Nobody's out of shape. They're just bumper to bumper, and they start hitting each other.
Let's listen in to Greg Biffle's communications.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I hit Carl. Then I got hit from behind. Spun out. Then the car's perfect.
Greg Biffle involved, and there was the 38 car reacting. Of course, there was a chain reaction crash, and the 38 of David Gilliland right behind the 16.
See, David Gilliland doesn't realize what happened because he couldn't see in front of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming true what all the drivers were talking about. You know, you just can't use the hand signals. And folks, here at Talladega, hand signals are everything in the world. It really lets the drivers around you judge what's going on.
One guy that got some damage from this was Martin Truex Jr. in the one car, one of our chase guys. He got up against the wall and scraped the wall. They came down pit road, put tires on. It looks like he's going to be okay, but he did get some contact here.
Under caution for the second time today. It's a good time to visit down in our pit studio with Susie Culver with our FedEx race rundown. Susie?
And Doc, in his 4th race in the chase for the NASCAR Next Up Cup, wide open to start, 6 lead changes in the first 5 laps. And for Matt Kenseth, who came in sitting 11th out of 12 chase drivers, trouble early and often with 2 early pit stops.
He is really struggling. They came into the chase, he and Robbie Rines and this DeWalt team, trying to pick up some momentum. They had a miserable last part of the season, not living up to their standards, and it continues today.
Yeah, he's had a couple of decent cars that just can't get the good finishes.
See great, and we see the 2 grooves of racing here, Susie. Obviously, this is great for the end of the race because people are going to be able to go high, go low, create some opportunities to stick that car into different areas. We should see a great finish to this race.
Well, we came in with so many unknowns because of that COT. And then one of the knowns, though, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's won 5 times here. He took the lead on lap 32, and he's led most laps.
Does not surprise me at all. He was fast in practice. He's confident. He made the prediction that his car's going to be out front today, and I'm with him. I think that 8 goes to victory lane.
Now with Doc Denny Hamlin sitting out front now, he's finished 15th or worse in the last 3 races this season. Man, could he use a good performance.
Susie, Denny Hamlin led 48 laps here in the spring, and some late caution flags and trouble on a couple of restarts forced him back to a 21st place finish. Here's one of the chasers, Martin Truex Jr., having his trouble. AB?
got some damage. Got into the outside wall, Doc, and they were trying to repair the right front fender and some damage to the nose piece of the car.
Right now, he is all by himself on the racetrack. As the song says, one is the loneliest number right now, and Martin Truex in the back of the pack with not much help.
Well, right now he's pedaling hard. Looks like he's going to be able to catch the pack before they go back green, though.
Pace car getting ready to pull away. Denny Hamlin has led 4 times for 18 laps, but the car that has led the most laps is sitting 4th in that line. That's the big Budweiser Chevrolet for Dale Earnhardt Jr. As the pace car gets set to pull away, the drivers are going to go full throttle. Let's go with them as we listen in to their spotters.
Pace car's in. You start the race. Just make sure Tommy can stay with you. Almost there.
Three-wide battle in the turn. Casey Kane in the 9 car. Behind him, the 43 of Bobby Labonte. They are the meat in that sandwich as they come sailing by now over 190 miles an hour.
You can tell right now they've been running single file that last pit stop, before that last pit stop, and now they're trying to make some passes. These guys are getting a little impatient from running single file. As a race car driver, you just don't want to sit there and ride.
Back up front, Denny Hamlin is the leader. Now his teammate, Tony Stewart, right behind him in the 20 car, has yet to lead a lap today. And you lead a lap, folks, you get those 5 bonus points, and Tony Stewart knows he needs those points right now.
These guys are content to run single file a little while ago, but do you think these guys looking for these 5 points, they're not going to be too content to just sit there. They're going to try to pass and maybe get these 5 points.
Yeah, especially Tony Stewart. He wants to get down right now and get those 5 points because he got a little behind last week in Kansas City with what happened there, and he needs all the points he can get.
The chase ticker up top of your screen will show you at the very top, shows you who's running where on the racetrack. And here, of course, the chase ticker shows you where they are currently in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Here they are again running that high line, all of them single file up in the upper groove.
What about Tony Raines? Give a call to Tony, who's driving not only for a victory, but driving to get noticed and maybe get a ride for 2008.
Well, we talked about Tony Raines a lot, because he's going to lose this ride. But, here's a guy who kept his car up in the points, and he's always done a good job. Except the team just wanting more, but he's doing good right now.
He got him a fast hot rod today.
He really does. I mean, he's got this car running great. He's staying out of trouble and just following everybody else. And right now, the only line's the top lane.
Second place, Tony Stewart, following his teammate, Denny Hamlin. More on the 20 car with Dave.
And Jerry, you guys mentioned last week, he radioed to his team just before the race started. You know what? It's an understatement to say last week didn't work out so well. But, he commented this week to the press on his Sirius Satellite radio show that he thought NASCAR did the right thing when they restarted the race, when they gave the fans what they were looking for. They did the right thing. He says they don't want weather to be a determining factor in these final 10 races, even though it didn't work out for us. The one thing he does need to do, you guys brought that up as well, he needs to get up in front at some point and get those 5 extra bonus points.
And they coming off that disappointment a week ago where Tony Stewart finished back in 39th position, now following his current teammate and right in front of the 5 car. That's his teammate for next year, Kyle Busch.
We're talking about teammates. I remember this 11 and 20 at Daytona, the last restrictor plate race running up front. And I think maybe Tony said, I'm going to cool it a little bit here today, and I'll get those 5 points before the day's over.
It's amazing that Tony's not talking on the radio back and forth the 11 car going, hey, let me lead a lap here. I'll get back in line if I can, but I want to get this 5 points now. I might not get it later.
If you're in the 20 car, do you do that? Do you make that request through your crew chief to the 11?
Absolutely. I'm on the radio right now going, hey, tell Denny that I want to get 5 points, and when I get them, I'll give the position back. And what's going to happen? A 5 car needs a guard for him, but he can't because he's on a different team now. If that was next year, they could all 3 be talking, but right now, can't get her done.
The 15 car of Paul Menard. Now remember, that's one of the DEI cars. Has the same engine package that Dale Earnhardt has on board, so you know it's stout. Take a look at our sprint speed lap and look at Paul Menard. Is he sprinting somewhere in a hurry? His last lap, 194.6 miles per hour. He's in a hurry.
That draft's worth a ton, especially when you get back in a group and you've got this one big group in front of you and you're the head of the next, and you can just zoom up through there in that vacuum.
Yeah, especially if you use it correctly, too. And he did. He was almost 2 miles per hour faster, so he knows how to get her done.
72 laps of 188. There have been 20 lead changes among 13 different drivers. Right now, it's a Joe Gibbs parade up front. Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart running 1-2. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Gillette Fusion Power, the best shave ever. And Coca-Cola. Thanks for drinking.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway, 41 cars on the lead lap, and folks, 42 cars in the lead draft. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. You can see that lead draft right there, courtesy of our friends at Goodyear. Folks, 42 cars that close at over 196 miles an hour.
Well, the thing I'm really amazed about right now, Jerry, is nobody's pushing issue whatsoever. They're not trying to run 2 or 3 wide. They're just stuck to the top of that track, just logging laps. These drivers came in scared about what was going to happen today. It looks like they're being pretty careful.
It's the calm before the storm, if you ask me. I think when these guys start to get down where they can see the finish, it's going to get real, real exciting.
We talked about the inexperience of one driver who had a great qualifying running start 6 in his very first NASCAR Nextel Cup stock car race on a super speedway. Jacques Villeneuve, a former Indy 500 and Formula One world champion. And he is getting some very valuable experience here on this racetrack right now.
Yeah, like I said, it's awful calm right now. I don't know if he knows what's getting ready to happen.
Well, he probably doesn't know later in the race all heck's going to break loose, but he's doing the right thing right now. He's gaining a lot of respect out of his competitors. He's just logging laps and understanding these car tomorrows here.
He really is doing a good job.
Well, let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. And the question this week is, which former Indy 500 winner will have the most successful NASCAR career? Will it be A, Dario Franchitti, who will be coming full-time in 2008? Dan Morris Jr., who's going to run that 2 events for Cole at Charlotte, and of course Martinsville. Juan Pablo Montoya, leading Rookie of the Year point standings, or Jacques Villeneuve, the former Formula One world champion. Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later on in the race.
Well, that's a tough one to pick right now because all we've ever gotten to see a lot of is Montoya. So probably the viewers will say it's Montoya. But there's 3 other good choices to pick from once we get to see more of them.
Talking about all the open wheel kings, the former open wheel champions, Indy 500 winners, and other guys from the IRL making the move to NASCAR. We asked Juan Pablo Montoya his thoughts on those moves.
The second biggest sport in America, and who doesn't want to be part of it? That's the question. I've done a lot of racing in my life. I've been Formula 1 supposed to be the greatest racing on earth, but I came here and I'm enjoying myself 10 times over.
You talked to Montoya, he said, I like racing NASCAR so much, I feel like I'm passing. And when he was an F1, he did a lot of testing that drove him crazy. He feel like he couldn't compete as much as he wanted to. And he'll tell you he loves this. You just heard him 10 times more.
He won the Indianapolis 500. He won the Grand Prix of Monaco, the crown jewel in Formula One. But he desperately wants to win on a super speedway oval here in NASCAR Nextel Cup. And here's some experience for Jacques Villeneuve as he's on the bottom of this 3-wide battle here in the turn.
And that's what he needs to do. He needs to get up to race a little bit so he knows what happens. He's logging laps. He's doing a good job. But, hey, you're not going to learn anything if you just sit by yourself and drive 500 miles. He's got to get up there and scrap with these guys a little bit and see what happens.
Jamie?
Well, Dr. Jacques Villeneuve was asked, why come over to NASCAR for the next step in your career? And he said, well, you know what? In Formula One, it's only fun if you're running at the front. Otherwise, it's boring. Over here in NASCAR, it looks like it's fun all the time. He's having a little bit of fun today.
Car looks pretty clean, too. He doesn't have any marks on it. He's kind of just minding his own business here, and he's getting a little drafting help from Brian Vickers.
I'm sure some of the veterans said if you want to learn, get to the back of the pack and stay out of trouble and follow some of the better race car drivers. You're going to learn a lot about this race. And how about some of the veterans who always use that strategy? Dale Jarrett in the 44 car has used that strategy. He's been to victory lane twice here at Talladega.
And I watched him use his strategy the year that he won his last race up here at Talladega. He kind of hung in the back of the pack. You're thinking, what's wrong? And all of a sudden you look up, he's leading the thing, and he wins the race. Right there at the right time.
Later on next week, Dale Jarrett has called a press conference to discuss his future. What will he say? Maybe a limited schedule in 2008, possible retirement? That's coming up next week as we get ready to go to Lowe's Motor Speedway. One of the cars that NASCAR has been watching closely is the 18 car of J.J. Yaley, who, by the way, had one of the best cars in happy hour here yesterday. But now, Andy, they're watching him because of some possible fluid out of the back of the car.
Could be he's running a little bit hot, maybe losing a little bit of oil there, but don't know what kind of thing he's fighting. He's running fast enough. He's keeping up with these guys.
We look at the back of the car. It's kind of coated with some debris, maybe some oil or something. A little darker looking on that interstate sign, so could be some leaking of oil there causing that.
That's what NASCAR looks for. They look at that back panel. If it starts getting a dark color to it, they know that the car's leaking fluid.
Doesn't look like it's leaking a lot. We don't see any smoke or anything, but you can tell something's going on. Take a look, Kevin Harvick, a little bump drafting going on right now. Backs off the throttle, does just what NASCAR said. Don't push the issue through the center of the corner.
40 car you saw behind Harvick, that's David Strimmy looking for a ride in 2008. That is the car that Dario Franchitti will drive in 2008 here in Nextel Cup.
Look at the lap times right now. The bottom lane of the racetrack looks like it's running about exactly the same speed as the top. They get a lot of run down the back straightaway and enter turn one, and then slow up a little bit dead in the middle.
One thing we used to see is when these cars would get side by side, say part of the way back through the pack, it would separate the packs a little bit. We don't see that happening here. Here's Joe Nemechek in the 78 car having some issues too. He's leaking fluid, getting black flagged by NASCAR. You have to remember he was one of the guys that qualified his car with qualifying setup. Qualified fourth, had a great run, but these are the kinds of things that these guys were worried about.
And this was an impound race, so they couldn't adjust the cars after qualifying, so they had to go with what they had in qualifying setup. Mike?
Well, Doc, you guys pretty much hit right on it. This team really took some chances with their qualifying setup. They admitted fully coming into this race that they compromised the reliability of this motor so much, in fact, that at one point early in this race, they came down pit road and had to reattach some belts. They had disconnected some belts for qualifying that gave them a little bit extra horsepower, but they fully admitted they took some chances and knew that this type of thing could happen coming into this race.
But you got to give them credit, though. They went ahead and rolled the dice here. They got the car in the race, which is the main thing. And if they hadn't done that, they wouldn't have, we wouldn't got to do anything.
Absolutely. These are Hendrick engines in the 78 car, same as the 24 car, Jimmy Johnson, and 48. Both those guys, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. So you wondered, why did he qualify so much faster, almost 0.6 of a second? Light oil, things like that.
That's the reason, but it does carry these risks with it.
We began the day with 3 different lines of drafting cars. For about 30 laps, we had a single line, and now as we approach the halfway, that second line began to form as side-by-side drafting out comes to bear. And folks, we've always talked about the big one. In the last handful of years, we've been able to go to nearly lap 100 until it breaks loose. Let's hope we go a lot further today. 85, 188 laps in the books at Talladega. Denny Hamlin is our leader.
How about the Cowboys? Led by Tony Romo, Dallas is one of 2 unbeaten teams in the NFC. Buffalo comes off its first win of the season and will host its first Monday Night Football game in 13 years. The Cowboys and Bills at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Monday Night Football.
Mike, our Susie Culver will be heading up there to join you guys on Monday night. Here at Talladega, it's starting to get a little bit crazy as we head toward the halfway point.
You had to wonder just how much patience these guys really did have.
Well, they're starting to run out right now. They just got a little impatient sitting back, and now it's 3 wide, 2 wide, back and forth. And Michael Waltrip and Runeman just shot to the lead and ran a really fast lap, close to to 200 just so long ago run this team down.
Earnhardt Jr. now in the middle group. He's got some drafting help. 3 lines of cars drafting as they come by. Bottom line there, Jeff Green trying to pull Kevin Harvick and company.
And just a little while ago, they were single file. Michael Waltrip pulled a train to the bottom of the racetrack, drove all the way up and took the lead, and now it's just compacting them all together.
How does that happen, Rusty? You just say, okay, I've had enough patience, it's time to go.
Yeah, they're tired of messing around right now. They're back there logging laps, and they're going, okay, I'm being the good driver I'm supposed to be. Now it's time to go racing. And it's really not time. They're only halfway through this race.
Saw the Earnhardt Nation stand and wave their approval as the 8 car goes sailing by to retake the lead.
And take a look at that. Michael Waltrip behind his old teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And from a long time ago, those guys always drafted great together.
Those guys definitely had some magic on these restrictor plate tracks. Looks like they're trying to heat it back up again.
Let's get you up to speed on the 12 drivers in the chase, starting with Alan Bester.
And we will go at the front of the pack where Denny Hamlin has spent a lot of the race. In fact, I believe he's led more laps than anyone else right now. Hamlin is looking to lead the most laps. Why? Because you get 5 bonus points for the championship for leading the most laps, and he's had troubles in the first 2 chase races. He needs every point he can get. Dave?
Tony Stewart could use some points too, just mixing it up right now, trying to find out where and when his car will work best. He has, first 2 stops, he just put on right side tires. They ran those lefts for a long time. They may still be on there too. They've, I don't believe they've changed those 4 tires yet. They stayed out in the last pit stop. So a lot of wear on those left sides next time he comes down pit road, but no abnormal wear on the right sides, Jamie.
Well, Kyle Busch found some friends at the front of the pack this whole race. That wasn't the strategy to begin with. He was looking to run with his teammates, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, maybe Casey Mears. He's been running up there by himself because his teammates are in the back of the pack. Guys, what's going on with the 31? Alan?
Jeff Burton just jumped on his radio and said, blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. Jeff Burton, one of the championship chasers, heading for the garage.
I don't know when it broke. It broke something big.
That's just kind of what we worried about with these engines, turning so many RPMs. This is the first one of the big guys that have lost one.
Yeah, Burton finished 36 last week and down to 10th in the chase points. Now calls it a day or heads to the garage here on lap number 92. Caution on the racetrack.
Yeah, NASCAR's putting this caution out because they're worried about oil and what might be on the racetrack from this blown engine from the 31.
You know, one thing we remind everybody about, you know, the older engines, the older restrictor plate engines ran about 7,200 RPMs, and now these new Car Tomorrow engines close to 8,700 in the draft, a lot more RPM. Drivers are worried about that.
Wow, you see all the fire coming out of the bottom of this thing. This is a big failure, probably a connecting rod or something going through the oil pan, causing all this oil to come out on the headers, cause this fire.
Remember, his teammates Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer also in the chase have the exact engine. Here's the engine just detonating again in the 31.
They just throwing pieces out from underneath it. Jeff did a good job getting it off the track, getting it slowed down, coming down pit road pretty fast, and still getting it stopped and behind pit wall.
Not only did the teammates that RCR got so did the DEI guys. They all had the same engine pack.
Place in the bill right there.
It got so hot underneath there. Looks like it got so hot under the back of the 31 car, inner panels started flying out of the car, aluminum pieces. It's just shedding them. Oh, you know what that is? That is the cooler, the pieces that go on top of the exhaust system. They keep the heat from getting up to the driver. The NASA-approved heat shields.
And these keep the heat from coming up from the exhaust up into the driver's cockpit area. And when that thing exploded, I guess all these pieces started flying off the exhaust from that fire and that oil.
Yeah, with all those flames, it really melted that stuff and kicked it out.
Now the concern has to move to the other 2 cars for Richard Childress Racing and the 4 cars for DEI, who all have the same engine built by the same group.
I'd be worried about it if I was them, but even all the other guys, this really puts a strain on these engines, this kind of RPM.
Up front, Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind the pace car. Has led twice for 31 laps. They will be halfway this time by. They will complete 94 of 188 laps, but they're going to complete the halfway on pit road as Junior leads them down for their pit stops under yellow. Dave Burns.
Tony Stewart will take on 4 tires for the first time today in the 20 car. Also wants a little bit of an adjustment as well to tighten the car up just a bit, free, especially in traffic. Mike?
Some debate in the 00 camp as to take 4 tires or 2. The initial concern was if they took 2, this thing could go green the rest of the way and they wouldn't have fresh rubber. Therefore, they're going with 4. Jamie?
And Brian Biggers, the 83 last pit stop, guys. You see him pushing him off the last pit stop. He put it in reverse. They thought they broke the transmission, but it wasn't so. He rounded all the way to 3rd. Let's go to Alan.
And just ringside tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who led coming in. I don't believe he's going to lead leaving pit road.
Alan, you're exactly right. He will not. He loses a couple of spots. Michael Waltrip up 1. Casey Kane up 8 positions. Martin Truex up 10 as they are on pit road working caution number 3 on the day. Back up to these messages in a word from our ABC station. Back at Talladega Superspeedway under caution for the 3rd time a day. Now, we've seen a lot of 196-plus mile-per-hour drafting. These cars running side by side, nose to tail, pushing each other, being able to use the air. Now, what we're going to be able to show you here with our draft track is how when 2 cars are drafting up toward each other, they're going to be able to share the same column of air. Now, when the column of air behind these cars turns white, they move into what we call draft lock. 2 guys sharing the same amount of air.
We talked about Michael Waltrip hooking up with Dale Earnhardt Jr. close to 200 mile-per-hour run. Look, it goes solid white. Both cars run at the same speed, turn the same RPM, and making some big horsepower by doing this. Solidly locked together. Michael just popped out an over 200 mile-per-hour lap because he was in solid draft lock.
Just before this, you saw Michael Waltrip losing ground to Tony Stewart. As soon as they hooked up in this draft lock, they just zoomed to the front. Look at this.
And they're going so much faster than anybody right now. See, Michael splits away. It breaks a draft. But when they're bumper to bumper, big speeds right there.
Let's watch and see if it can happen again. Michael Waltrip, who was the pole sitter, will lead them down to the green flag just past the halfway point. Great crowd on hand here at Talladega Superspeedway. Waltrip, Casey Kane, Dale Earnhardt Jr. It is Toyota, Dodge, and Chevrolet, the top 3 cars, as they go sailing down into turn 1.
You know, it just makes you wonder if these guys are going to start passing each other again or just kind of hang out long laps. See the bottom lane right there?
Well, there's your answer.
Yeah. They want to get it on right now. We just about saw him get after right before the caution.
That was Hamlin in the 11 car, and the 5 of Kyle Busch. It made that daring move to the high side. Now here comes Earnhardt down to the bottom and trying to move underneath the 9 car of Casey Kane. Let's check back in the garage area where Dave is caught up with Jeff Burton.
Yep, and he has climbed out and already had a chance to change clothes by now. Jeff, did you suspect any problems coming into today? We heard about hot under the hood during the test, but did you suspect anything?
No, I think we were, you know, obviously a lot of unknowns. You know, turning 8,500 all day long is something we typically don't do. So you know, we learned something today. Hopefully, I'm extremely disappointed, but I'm not disappointed with our effort. Our engine guys and our car guys, everybody's put a tremendous effort out here. Obviously, this about wraps it up for us for the championship, but you know, we'll just keep fighting. We'll go next week and strap our boots on and go fight and see what we make happen.
Your teammates run the exact same package, Jeff. Do you have any concerns for them for the rest of today?
Well, I mean, I don't know that we're the exact same package, but you know, nobody's experimenting. We don't have anything in anybody's car that we were worried about. But there are a few little differences, but nothing. Actually, no valve train stuff. That's probably what we broke. So I don't know. Well, I certainly hope they don't have a problem. I think our cars are fast enough to get some business done, get in the right line at the right time, and this is the inevitable thing that's going to happen. Everybody's gotten bored out there, and it's starting to get wild again, which is what Talladega is all about. But again, disappointment for us, but I am not disappointed with the effort.
Thanks, Jeff. Sorry you're out, guys.
Jeff Burton's exactly right. It's starting to get antsy and gonna get wild out here. That's what Talladega is all about. Great quote, Jeff, because it is getting wild. The 55 car is there. The 20 of Tony Stewart. His teammate is Hamlin is back up there.
Man, that's an understatement. These guys are bumping and banging right now. Back and forth and back to 3 wide right now. And nobody's patient. Look at the 5 car up there at the top of the track. He was getting really excited a little while ago.
In fact, Tony's going to get his 5 points if he can bring it to the line right here.
5 car, future teammate for Denny Hamlin down there pushing the 11 car to help him get by. Now they're going to both pull down and try to go beneath Montoya.
This is what Stewart needed to get right now. These 5 bonus points, he's got them. Now he can just do what he wants. That can be off his mind.
Tony Stewart goes to the top of the chase points as of right now. Gaining 3 spots, Jimmy Johnson. See Clint Boyer, who came in third, sits in third. He was at the top of the points earlier in the afternoon.
You see this one lap, Tony Stewart's in the lead. In the point standings, this thing can go right down to the last lap, and I think it takes so fast to make your head.
Oh, yeah, he can go from leading by 3 points right now to being almost out of the ballgame right now. By the last lap, it could really tear everything right up.
Remember what happened to Jimmy Johnson in this race a year ago? He was running second here on the final lap and finished 24th because of that contact. It can happen here in a hurry at Talladega.
Yeah, if I was Tony Stewart, just be conservative right now. Lead that draft, but don't lose this thing. I mean, don't have a problem getting a wreck. Because see, right now, he's back in the game right now after that wreck last week.
Five-car is the crew chief for the five-car crew chief is Alan Gustafson for Kyle Busch. And we talk about how important it is to make the right moves at the right times here and be patient at Talladega. Here's what Alan had to say.
I think this race here may be the only place your strategy varies a little bit. You know, let's say every other race you go to win. You know, you go out there to win, do what it takes to win, and put yourself in position to win. I think this race you got to look at it, come here to finish first. You know, you've got to finish the race first. Winning's kind of a secondary thing. You almost go in defense mode when you come here to Talladega.
All about finishing here. The old saying, go to the finish first. First you must finish. And here, this guy's in the chase talking about his driver, Kyle Busch, and he just wants him to be able to be there so he can be a factor at the end.
These guys can talk defense all they want, and they do play defense till it gets right down to the end of the race. But as soon as it gets down with that 10 or 12 laps to go, there's nothing but offense, man, everywhere you look. And there's longer laps right here. You see he's just taking it easy.
Here's what Rusty was talking about with the 5-car a little bit earlier. Now watch him come up right on the back of the 11 car.
He really got a hard bump draft going there, kind of knocked him around a little bit. Saw how hard he accelerated up and got him in the back. And that's something that NASCAR's looking at right now. They're not going to tolerate a whole lot more of this. You know, you're talking about what the drivers think. You know, when I was a driver and I came in here, if I could get out of this track with a top 10, I was happy. Look, we were all winners. We all want to win. But if you get a top 10, you felt like you started a bullet because anything can happen here.
Not me, man. I want to come out here with the trophy. Well,
you're
I want to cart out here
with. You're the crew chief, man. You weren't the driver.
So many unknowns, so many variables, and of course a lot of concern here. We are just past the 100-lap mark. It's going to get very serious. Take a look at our Ford lap leaders. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps thus far. You're watching ESPN on ABC.